The way to crush the middle class is to grind them between the milestones of taxation and inflation. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an actual prepping video for you that I'm working on, but it's taking me a while to do it because there's a lot involved. However, I came across this article and I have to share with you because this is what I've been trying to say. All of these videos where I talk about inflation, where I talk about money, the financial system, all of that kind of stuff, where I tell you that they're stealing your wealth, they're stealing your time. This here is what I am trying to say. This is how they intend to get you where you will own nothing. I can't say that you'll be happy, but you'll own absolutely nothing. So bear with me. Let me go ahead and read a little bit of this for you because it's so important that we understand this. That way we can see what's coming down the line and that we can prepare for it and hopefully overcome whatever they throw at us in order to take away our freedoms. For years, the global elite have been openly telling us that one day we will own nothing, we will have no privacy, and we will be extremely happy with our new socialist utopia. But exactly how do they intend to transition to such a society? Are they going to come and take all of our stuff? Needless to say, there are millions upon millions of very angry people out there that aren't just going to hand over their stuff to a bunch of socialists. So how are they going to overcome that obstacle? Ladies and gentlemen, I've said it time and again that money is everything. Not that money means everything, but that money is everything because it is what gives us ownership of what we own. If you want to think about it this way, those things that you own, that you've worked for, that make your life better, be it a pair of shoes or be it a vehicle or a home, to you that is money, that is wealth. It is time that has taken you to accumulate those things by giving of your labor. Well, the truth is that they don't need to take your stuff to implement their goals. All they need to do is destroy the value of your money. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, destroying the value of your labor, stealing your labor through inflation, stealing your labor through taxation. If your money becomes worthless, you will start descending into poverty, and it won't be too long before you become totally dependent on government, which is their final goal. To be dependent on government and have government take care of you from cradle to grave. And as the stuff you have right now wears out, you won't be able to replace it with the worthless money that you are now holding. Eventually, you will own virtually nothing, but you probably won't be very happy about it. That I would have to agree with. So high inflation is actually a tool that the elite can use to further their goals. The good news is that I do not believe that the global elite will ever be able to achieve their utopia. The bad news is that they won't be able to achieve their utopia because Western society is going to completely and utterly collapse during the times that are ahead. And I've been talking about this for a while as well, ladies and gentlemen. And how does a society usually collapse? It usually starts with their morals going downhill and their values going downhill. It also starts with a political system or a governance system that cares not about its people. But it almost always ends with the government destroying the value of the money that you trade your labor for. And I'm skipping through this article, ladies and gentlemen, but I'll leave the link to it all the way at the bottom of the description of this video. He continues to say, as I demonstrated last week, the truth is that inflation is rising much faster than our paychecks are. And that means that our standard of living is going down. And what he means by inflation is rising much higher or much faster than our paychecks are, the way I see that, ladies and gentlemen, is that inflation is rising at a faster pace than what we are being compensated for our labor. So inflation, in fact, is stealing our wealth, is stealing our labor, is stealing our time. If you are among those that think that things are bad now, just wait because they will soon get worse. At this point, even Keel Kashari is publicly admitting that inflation is going to continue to rise in the months ahead. And Keel Kashari is one of the Fed presidents. The math suggests we are probably going to see somewhat higher readings over the next few months before they likely start to taper off, he said during an appearance on CBS. The Federal Reserve has lost control, and 2022 is going to be a very interesting year from an economic standpoint. Interesting for those that are looking down upon us, ladies and gentlemen, but very hard and harsh for those of us that have to live the reality of our labor being stolen from us through inflation. On Sunday, we learned that the average price of a gallon of gasoline in California has almost reached $5, hitting $4.67. Gasoline prices are going to continue to move higher, and that is really bad news. Just about everything that we buy has to be transported, and so higher gasoline prices are going to fuel even more inflation. What we've been talking about for months. Ladies and gentlemen, when I come on here and I tell you stuff that I see coming down the line, because history teaches you what is coming down the line, because human behavior does not change over time. It just repeats itself. It is a cycle. Cycles are composed of human behavior. Please, if you listen to me, don't only do it for entertainment. Listen to what I tell you, and then please do your own research. They continue to say that America's largest food bank struggles to feed people amid a perfect storm of surging food prices and supply chain woes. And I'm not sure if you saw the video that I titled Feeding the Hungry, but off camera I was talking to Miss Ann, the CEO of the food bank, and she said that it is a lot tougher to be getting food nowadays because they're getting less donations. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You know that CARES Act where the government was giving food banks a whole bunch of money here last year? That's dried up. All right? So whereas all of these food banks were getting food from the government, now it's dried up. Now they can only count mostly on their community. That's why I've always said I would rather my food bank not accept anything from the federal government. It should be up to our community. But again, I digress. They continue to say here, some have used the term a perfect storm to describe what we are facing. And I think that is definitely quite appropriate. If you're waiting for life to get back to normal, you're going to be waiting a very long time. And ladies and gentlemen, as I've stated before, their next step, and I hope I'm wrong, their next step will be a financial collapse. Their next step will be to strip the rest of the wealth that is remaining in paper form, i.e. in your bank accounts, i.e. in the stock market, in your retirements and mutual funds. Their next step will be to collapse that system so that you will be left in the street without even those paper dollars. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, to finish it off, it is very true what Mr. Snyder says here. Unfortunately, every time that socialism has been played out throughout history, it has always ended in disaster. And now it's our turn. And for goodness sakes, I've been watching a few videos on YouTube from people telling you don't prep, that you don't need to be prepared, that you just need to grow a garden. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, grow your garden. Raise your chickens, raise your hogs. But please realize that not everyone is in the same position. I cannot grow a garden 7 months out of the year where I live. If you live in an apartment in a city somewhere, you may be able to have a little indoor garden, you know, a indoor hydroponics garden or something like that. But you're not going to be able to grow enough food to feed yourself. So stock up. These people on YouTube that are telling you, you don't need to prepare, you don't need to put up food for a year or more. Just grow your own food. Maybe for them it works, but also remember that even if you have the biggest garden of gardens, even if you're producing your own food at a mass quantity, what happens if there's a storm? What happens if there's a rat or mice infestation that takes out your food? What are you going to fall back on? Stock up, ladies and gentlemen. If you have a garden, that is great. If you grow your own meat, that is great. But stock up, because that's what preparedness is for. So that you can be prepared for what you're not expecting to happen, even if you have a lush garden this year or next year or last year, whenever you had it. That's what preparing is for. Other than that, have a great day. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.